Hey ya guys, it's your boy, Tavian the Jelly. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in one of those debates? You know, the ones where everyone starts expressing their opinions on PR songs. I've surely been there. Is Brine a bad song? What's the best hypothetical song? Is Barricade really the most liked song? No? And my personal favorite, as it always sparks up controversy, Part 4 tier lists. It's great because everyone always hates mine. Yeah, those debates. No one can ever agree on anything, and then you end up talking about condiments by the end of it. I don't know how that happens. But today is the day that we finally end this debate. I asked all my friends and asked them to ask their friends to fill out a Google form which I made, which I asked everyone to fill out. Following, 24 people helped fill out this Google form. I asked everyone to give every single song in PR a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. And I took the average rating that each song got and compiled it all into a single ranking from the worst song all the way up to the fan favorites, so that we can determine which song in Pluto's Reprisal is king, and end all this debate. And that's precisely what I'll be showing you guys today. I also asked the responders as a little bonus to say what their absolute favorite song was, which we'll see as we go through the list. Before we get into it, let's lay the ground rules for what qualifies for the ranking. I'll only be counting playable songs in parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Songs that you can download and play right now. So no songs that aren't officially released or betas, except Beta Cryophyte. Plus, all those solar system song covers that Digi has made will not be counted, except for We Are the Planets, as it's the only playable one. And yes, Imitations and Stronger are counted on the list. I also will not be counting any fan-made songs like 8-Way Encore, only the ones made from the Digiman himself. And don't get mad at me if you don't like the results, this is unbiased, and I'm just using science to answer this question. Okay, we've got a lot of ground cover. That leaves 42 songs to be ranked. So without further ado, let's find out which PR song is the best. And the title of worst song goes to Stature! Now, you might be surprised by this. Are you? I don't know. But the answer is clear. Stature stood no chance. It received an average rating of exactly 5 out of 10. If that's the worst that PR can do, exactly in the middle, then I'd say we're in for a pretty good ride. Seeing here from the results, a quarter of the respondents gave it a 6 out of 10, but 4 and 3 aren't far behind. There frankly just aren't too many positive responses, aside from the one person who gave it a perfect 10, good on you. While it is sad to see Stature this low, it is only 40 seconds more or less of 8 small turns, and the song is already over before I even finish this segment. Be for real, Stature is no one's favorite song, and if it's yours, then no, you're lying to yourself. Lying! Poor Stature. Maybe next time. And the honor of second to worst song goes to Imitations. Yeah, Imitations didn't get last place. To those of you who don't know what Imitations is, I wouldn't blame you. It's the only song Digi has no video about whatsoever. It's a 5-minute collection of charted space sounds. And it's as thrilling as you would expect. The results might shock you though. It got an average of 5.54, and here's why. So here we have 1/3 of the respondents who gave it a 1, and another third that gave it a score somewhere in the middle, 4, 5, 6, whatever. But then we have the final third of respondents who gave it a perfect score, which is also its most popular response. 10 out of 10, people. This is the best it gets. Oh yeah, I could jam out to this all day. The funny thing is, Imitations has the second highest number of perfect ratings out of any song from the first 3 parts. And including part 4, it still makes the top 10. How? Obviously for the funny, but it can't really rank any higher due to how mixed it is. But hey, Imitations, at least you're better than Stature. That's something, I guess. Now on to actual songs, and here we have a tie between Halogram and Now on to actual songs, and here we have a tie between Halogram and Scorched, who both received an average of 5.79. I'm not really shocked by Scorched being this low. Its following has never really been that strong. Looking at the results, it received at least 1 response of every rating except a 10. 50% of the responses are down the middle, and is only lifted slightly by the few positive ratings. Sad day for Venus. On the other hand, Halogram is lower than what I was expecting. Opposite of Scorched, it got at least 1 of every rating except a 1. 6 was its most popular response. From the looks of it, you think it'd be a bit more positive, but the results don't lie. Well, rip Halogram. I suppose both these songs ranking so low is a bit saddening, but we must move on with the list. But which do you guys think is better? Let me know in the comments. Our first part 2 song on the list with Second Chance. With an average rating of 5.94, Second Chance garnered 1/3 of the respondents to vote a 7. Despite that, its low rating just comes down to there not being many positive responses. Half of all the responses landed below 7, and only a 1/6 above. I've noticed how much more recent hate Second Chance has gotten, reportedly being too repetitive. And that kinda disappoints me. I mean, the instrumental was the TCBB intro for the first 3 episodes. Until I rightfully got rid of it in favor of Tattletale, but still, being the only song outside of part 1 to rank below a 6 out of 10, Second Chance has really fallen from grace. Perhaps one day we'll give it a second chance. For our second tie on the list, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of these, prepare yourself. We have our first part 3 song, and our second part 2 song, which both got an average of 6.04. Our first songs to rank above a 6, and they are... Coercion, our favorite Ida song with no dactyl. Coercion really wasn't going to rank that high to begin with. It's the most simplistic song in the game, besides Stature. Yet it still managed to rank above Second Chance. Wow. Most respondents gave it a 5, however, most of the other responses are fairly positive. It certainly isn't winning any awards, but good on you, Coercion. Our other song in the tie is Tarnished. I never really expected Tarnished to be that high, even when part 2 came out. I don't remember anyone being too ecstatic about this one. The results are similar to Coercion, 50% voted down the middle, and most of the rest are positive. I wonder though, how these results would have changed with the new instrumental, if they would at all. But here, take a listen. Now we're starting to get into the good songs. Let's get back to part 1. Here we are with Corrosion, having Mars, the only planet to have powered up before part 4. Unless you count Pluto as a planet, which it's not. Corrosion's most popular rating was a 6. The rest is all mixed. Corrosion always has the same complaint of being too short. It is the second shortest song in all of PR, only behind Stature. It's still got an average of 6.08, and I think that's pretty fair. Get ready to hear that for the entire instrumental. I know just how much of a fan favorite this one is. Like Corrosion, you'll always see the same complaint flowing around. Triton needs more singing time! And I get it, from a 3-minute and 30-second song, Triton only gets the last 30 seconds of it, meaning that most of the runtime is dedicated to these two goobers. I can definitely see why someone would dislike this song. Doesn't stop it from gathering an average of 6.29, and looking at the results, more than 75% of the respondents landed in these 4 ratings, ranging from okay to good, which is accurate to the average, and hey, it even got a couple 10s. From these results, it's clear that Brian at least has some sort of following, so that's something. For our third tie, we got a couple bonus songs, Beta Cryophyte and Stronger, who both got an average of 6.54. Stronger is kinda where I expected it to be. I feel hecka nostalgic for it, but I don't see it being too popular. It's not even really Digi's song, but the results here are interesting. Stronger is the only song to receive at least 1 response for every rating. Its highest was an 8 though, but despite all that, it's still not too high. For Beta Cryophyte, I'm shocked how it made it this high up. Like, it's the 3rd most basic song behind Stature and Coercion. Yet this short little beta song ranked above songs like Tarnished, Brine, Halogram, Corrosion, and even Second Chance, for crying out loud. A third of the respondents gave it an 8, and for being such a simple song, it really managed to capture some love. These songs are not anything too crazy, but nice little songs. Until you hear updated yeah, new Digi voice. Digi, you should really update part 2. Which do you guys think is better? Now let's move on. We have the first Dr. Oid song, and I have a bit of history with this one in that I suck at it. But you're not here for me. If you were, you'd stop watching. You're here for the results. And with an average of 6.62, Relegation had a third of the respondents choose an 8, which is pretty good. But it's also got some negatives holding it back, especially with the fact that it has 2 1s and 2 10s. But it ain't all that bad. All in all, a fairly decent score for the finale of part 1, and to get us into the top 30.
Rule number 1 of being a planet, you must orbit a star. Rule number 2, you must have enough gravity to bear a spherical ship. But you don't follow the third rule, Pluto. You can clear your orbit from debris, like a planet can. So I will prove to you that there's no chance of you being promoted again.
Ranking just above its brother song Relegation, Crux received Crux? Yeah, Crux. Ranking just above its brother song Relegation, Crux received a slightly higher average of 6.71, so even though Relegation got the short end of the stick, it wasn't a very long stick. Crux's results are a bit more diverse with, oddly enough, another set of 2 1s and 2 10s. Those 1s probably hold it back from ranking any higher because more than 40% of the respondents chose the 7 or 8. I can see why Crux would rank above Relegation, but it's just funny how they ranked right next to each other. Anyways, let's carry on. And in our fourth tie, yeah, I told you there'd be a lot of these, one of the songs is Celerity, with an average of 6.88. I can definitely see it in the spot. It's among the more popular songs of part 1, and it shows. Gotta go fast, am I right? A quarter of the respondents gave it an 8. Nice to know Mercury's song ranks above Mars's, Saturn's, and Venus's. Gotta show some love to my boy Mercury. Also, why are the speed notes only in the first part of the song? Like, put them in the rest of the song, did you? As for the other song in the tie, well... Also getting a 6.88 rating is our first Part 4 song, Tattletale. Despite our Little Mick not being the worst Part 4 song, it still ranks above 13 other songs, 14 if it wins the tie with Celerity. It beat Crux and Relegation, bro. However, a quarter of the respondents gave it a 5. I suppose ranking it next to the other Part 4 songs makes it look a lot lesser in comparison. There are little to no negative responses though, so that's good. Our little goober shall reign on his journey. Enjoy the Part 4 art style while you can, because I reckon we're not gonna see it again for a long, long while.
Wait till the plane.
Okay, this is the last tie, I promise. This time between Cryophyte and We Are the Planets, who both received an average of 6.96. Out of the 4 bonus songs that don't contribute to the lore, We Are the Planets was the highest ranking, and I can see why. It's a cover of our beloved Storybot song. More than 60% voted on a 6, 7, or 8. If it weren't for the couple of negative reviews, I think We Are the Planets could have gotten an average of 7. Even if it's the second lowest ranking Part 3 song, you still gotta love that art style. Cryophyte, on the other hand, had its most voted rating as a 9. Wow, and Cryophyte is all over the place. More than 60% gave it above a 7. That's more than I was expecting, but hey, you can't go wrong with classic Cryophyte. Someone from the final question even said this was their favorite song from Part 1. Thanks to whoever you are for sharing your favorite song in each part. I can see why you like this one. Both these songs almost made it into the range of 7, but not quite. From now on, we're gonna get into the real good stuff.
Here we go.
The third highest part 1 song is heliocentric of all songs. But yeah, it barely managed to rank a 7 out of 10 with a 7.08. And that's also its most voted rating. Heliocentric is a song I was not expecting to rank as high as it did, above Crux, Celerity, and even Cryophyte. I guess it has some sort of following, interesting, but that leaves only 2 part 1 songs left, Domain and Colossus. Which one do you think is gonna win? Well, let's find out right now! Colossus ranks as the second best part 1 song with an average of 7.12, just barely above heliocentric. And wow, look at the results. I don't think there's a single negative one. There's a couple okays, but for the most part, it's actually pretty well received. More than 75% of the respondents gave it a 6, 7, or 8, which is evident by the average. So good on you, Colossus. That's pretty good. Strap in, folks, this next one is a part 3 song, and is the longest song in the game. Oh Kata, my beloved, the amount of times I've let your music grace my ears is countless, and yet, you ended up with an average of 7.29. It's all around very mixed. Not that there's any bad responses, but it's all over the place. 25% gave Kata a 6, which is the middle point of all this. Close to half gave it above a 6, and less than a quarter rated it below a 6. Enough to garner a 7, but nothing more. Oh, why does Kata have to have such mixed reception? But a 23rd rank will have to do. Kata even has a couple big fans claiming it to be their favorite song. Nice! I think most of the criticism just comes down to that long turn. It's just so long! Until you hear the updated version. Pretty cool, huh? Now we can't stay here for Kata's 8-minute and 39-second runtime. You guys are already bored. Let's move on with the ranking. What? Barrel Roll somehow ranked above Kata. I have no objection to that. Barrel Roll got an average of 7.38, and that ranks exactly in the middle in terms of part 2. There's 4 songs ranked lower and 4 ranked higher. I suppose that's fair. A third of the voters gave it a 6. Surprisingly enough, there is one single response lower than that. Barrel Roll just misses out on the top half of the list due to the results. Someone even said this was their favorite song. Barrel Roll. Wow. Sorry that your song didn't make the top half. Yeah, we're halfway now. Whoa! Now it's time for Barrel Roll to barrel roll out of here. Starting off the top half of the list with... Despite its simplistic nature, Jovian got an average of 7.46. The same complaint with Corrosion applies to this one. It's too short, which it is pretty short at only a minute and a half, but even with that, it ranked above other short songs of its kind. Coercion, Corrosion, Stature, Tattletale, Beta Cryophi, We Are the Planets, and even just beating out Barrel Roll. Even beating Kata, which is 7 minutes longer. The results are fairly positive as well. Half of the respondents gave it an 8 or higher, man. That's pretty swell. I feel that the complaint for Corrosion was to make it longer so it could be something more than it is, so it could be good for a lack of a better term. Whereas I think people already like Jovian, they just simply want more of it. Kicking off the top 20 with the highest ranking Part 1 song, which just barely cracked the top 20, with an exact 7.5 average. It seems that everyone actually likes Domain, and it's not hard to see. There isn't nearly as much negativity with Domain as the other Part 1 songs. I can respect that. Domain doesn't get trashed on like the other Part 1 songs, and that makes it the queen of Part 1, or whatever. As from now on, we won't be seeing any more Part 1 songs. Let's jam out to Domain for a sec. The first hypothetical song, Planet 10, Spider-Man. Lurking got an average of 7.54, just barely above Domain. But look at these results. 2/3 of the respondents gave it a 7 or 8. They are by far the majority. There's little else in the other ratings, though Lurking is my favorite hypothetical song, so it's sad to see it ranked the lowest, but you don't care. The songs from now on are starting to see little negativity, and it can only get better from here. Nexus ranking this high kinda shocks me because I see so much more recent hate for it, but it got an average of 7.58. The highest rating was an 8. There's also this group of 4s right here. Just thought I'd mention that. Nice to know that Nexus still has a following, ranking as the 3rd best Part 2 song. This isn't like the Crux and Relegation situation, both of them were right next to each other. But here, Second Chance is far more hated, so it's a very long stick. I'm running out of things to say. Next sauce! Why is it so long? Guys, it's the most liked song. Yeah, sorry PR Wiki, even if we didn't count part 4, Barricade wouldn't even make the top 5. But that doesn't mean it's anything to scoff at. With an average of 7.75, Barricade shows its dominance by having 60% of voters give it an 8 or higher, and having a quarter of them give it a 6. For being Barricade, I expected it to be higher honestly, but I suppose the spot works for it too. Soon enough, we're gonna get to the point where the responses are only positive, so stay tuned for that. As for Barricade, it shall remain here in the ranking. You'll live on as being gray, spammy, and the most liked song. Oh gee willikers, it's my raid! This raid just happened to score an average of 7.96, nearly 8! From the results, Myriad's highest score was a 7. Only 2 respondents chose below that. And there's a good amount of 9s and 10s. Myriad scored the second highest of any part 2 song, and from the first 2 parts in general. I can definitely see why. On a poll Digital Hourglass did on what the viewers thought the best song was, as of part 2, Myriad won with an overwhelming majority. That hype has died down a little since then as we've gotten parts 3 and 4, but Myriad still seems to be going strong. Here we have the highest ranking part 2 song, so it'll just be parts 3 and 4 from now on, and it is... How did Obscurity win? Obscurity is the only song in the first 2 parts to average above an 8 at 8.04, and is our first song to do so. But Obscurity is not what I was expecting at all. Look at these results. Not a single response lower than a 6. There's an awful lot of 10s. It's tied for the most voted rating with 7. Wow, that's insane. Never knew Obscurity was still so loved after all this time. That's something to commend. Despite its simplicity, it beat every part 1 song, every part 2 song, and almost every part 3 song. Its fanbase shows it's people's favorite part 2 song, and this being someone's favorite song in general. What do you think? It obviously Obscurity. So since you all love Obscurity so much, I'll let you listen to the rest of it to send off part 2. Right next to Obscurity is the highest ranking hypothetical song, Seclusion. It got an average of 8.08, and ranked as the 3rd best part 3 song. Taish certainly has some fans. Aside from the 1-3, Seclusion got all positives, with 1/3 of the respondents giving it a 9. Half of all the voters gave Seclusion a 9 or 10, that's gotta say something. If it wasn't for that 3, I'd say Seclusion could have easily ranked even higher. It's even someone's favorite PR song, that's neat. We're getting into the fan favorites now, guys, and strap in because we're returning to the one and only. Part 4 has finally returned to the list with Goliath. Even though Goliath ranked as the second lowest in Part 4, it still beat out every song from the first 3 parts, aside from a couple. The fact also that every Part 4 song except Tattletale got above an 8 is crazy. With an average of 8.17, there's oddly enough a couple 3s for this one. It seems like Goliath hasn't exactly won everyone over. Its most rated is still an 8. I think Goliath is just in that awkward intermission spot, you know? In between the heavy hitters of Hylas and Oriole and the finale songs of Providence and Faction. It may be a weaker Part 4 song, but it's still a Part 4 song, so it has no issue making the top 15. It does win some people over, it's this respondent's favorite song. Even though we may have gone back to Part 4, let's move back to Part 3 real quick for... The second highest song from the first 3 parts, Nomadic with an 8.21 average. 8 is the majority rating on this one, followed by 9 and 10. Nomadic is still very liked, so I can see why I ranked this high. It tried its best to compete with Part 4, but it could only beat Goliath and Tattletale, so it will have to settle for 12th place. This was even our famous respondent's favorite Part 3 song. The Giga Chads have certainly delivered on their song. Let's get back to Part 4. So yeah, expect this list to solely be Part 4 from now on. Khalidum just barely missed out on the top 10 with an average of 8.29. Here, 10 has the most responses, which is probably going to be the norm from now on. Khalidum could have probably ranked higher if it wasn't for those couple of 4s. Sorry Khalidum fans, but it looks like Venus won't be winning this one. Not that her other song ranked that high at all. Also, sorry to this person, Khalidum was close. At least you got Hylas. Now let's get on with the top 10. Before I announce the top 10 of this list, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss when I upload. And smack that like button if you'd like to see more videos like this one. I know you're all dying to find out what's ranked in the top 10 list, so let's not waste any more time. Sorry Kaleidom, Firmament ranked above you, with the higher average of 8.33. That's crazy. With the receptions of Kaleidom and Firmament, I thought for sure Kaleidom would win out, but here we are. Plus, Firmament has more people call it their favorite song than Kaleidom, so ha. Again, the results show a couple 4s. What is it with these 4s? A third of the respondents gave Firmament a 9, and a quarter gave it a perfect 10, which both of these are the majority. If it wasn't for those pesky 4s, Firmament could have ranked higher, but nope. Here's Kevin tasting the non-existent floor. Into the single digits now with Providence. Ball of Foil got an average of 8.38. Poor Ball of Foil didn't get as high as Andrew or that ABY guy. Its results are a perfect downward spiral, 10 being the biggest rating. That's some pretty good ratings. Providence definitely has its fan base. I think it's all from the obscurity voters. I know Providence is a very liked song by many, it's a couple people's favorite. This one is a big fan, you can tell from it all being capital letters. Its placement is very respectable. For now we must shut this mothership down to get to the next song. We're breaking the sound barrier by 5 times with this one. Literally, that's what hypersonic means. Before the results, this happens to be someone's favorite song, Neato. And Kata. Hypersonic races with an average of 8.46. Hypersonic made it pretty far up in terms of part 4. The most voted rating was a 9, with 10 not far behind. And everything else only makes up a quarter of the respondents. That's a great score for my boy Mercury. Kepler 37b never stood a chance with his speed. I think my game is broken. Yup, it's the other song that starts with an HY, Hylas. I was expecting this one to rank a bit higher because of its massive fanbase. It's still averaged an 8.79, and the results do show its following. Look at this. 50% of the voters gave it a perfect score. That's insane. but I think it's held back by these. Hylas shows a shocking amount of mixed reception from the other 50% by Part 4 standards. Without them, Hylas would have easily made the top 5, but here we are. Our favorite Glass Man just missed out with this one, but still, the amount of 10s is tied for the second highest number of any song, so that has to count for something. Plus, Hylas' fanbase is huge. This is 4 people's favorite song. Well, actually 3. This person's favorite is Hyas and Dumb. Okay. Farewell, Glass Eater. Aw, the climax of all of PR just missed out on the top 5. Faction's average was 8.83. You wanna know what song Hylas was tied for second with the most amount of perfect ratings? It's this one. This one is quite similar to Hylas. Half of the respondents gave it a 10. In fact, the 8, 9, and 10 ratings are all the exact same to Hylas. Where the differences come in are the other ratings. Faction does have a 3, but these just slightly beat out these. Sorry, Hylas fans. Faction is even 3 people's favorite song. That's quite a following. Since this is the big finale song of Season 1, you can all have a good old listen to it before we get on to the top 5. Yeah, I may have kinda lied to you a while back. We have one more tie between 2 songs that both got an 8.88 average. What are they? Well... Would you look at that? Zerum with its EAS alarms made the top 5, so its results are very positive. Almost everyone gave it a 9 or a 10. The most negative review was a 5. Just wow, look at that. It's also someone's favorite song. You can tell they're a big fan because it's in all caps. Now, I'm not particularly surprised by Zerum being this high, but I am with the other song in a tie. Yes, Antithesis made the top 5. Like, wow, that's impressive. It's the only song from any of the first 3 parts to rank this high, and not even close. Nomadic was second, and it's still ranked below every Part 4 song except Goliath and Tattletale. There were only 3 Part 4 songs, and songs in general, that ranked above Antithesis. Only 3! And Zerum is tied with it. I mean, it beat songs like Providence, Hypersonic, Kaleidom, Hylas, and even Faction! That is an incredible feat, and look at the results. Not a single negative response, not one. And the highest was a 10. No one dislikes this song. And it's some people's favorite song. Which one of these two do you think is better? With that all done, let's get on to the top 3. Only 3 songs remain: Plectrum, Oriole, and Threshold. And the bronze medal goes to Threshold. Threshold made an average of 8.96, just barely outside the border of a 9. Almost half the respondents gave Threshold a 9, with the other 2 quarters giving it an 8 and a 10 respectively. If it wasn't for this 7, I think Threshold could average a 9. Once again, there are no negative reviews at all. ABY has a huge following, some even claiming it to be their favorite song. That doesn't negate the fact that Threshold takes the 3rd place spot. Now it's time to find out which Pluto's Reprisal song is the best of them all. Ooh, wait, what's this? I got an achievement! Oh. Toaster Gamer. Thanks, game! After going through 40 different songs, it all comes down to 2. Plectrum and Oriole. The only 2 songs to average a score of 9 or higher. So without further ado, the silver medal goes to... Plectrum averaged a score of exactly 9 out of 10, taking the 2nd place crown. Plectrum of all songs, wow, really didn't expect Plectrum to land this high, but it's true! Almost half of the responses are 10, a quarter 9, and the other quarter 8. Despite these, Plectrum still scored a 9. I guess there were just enough positives to push it to the top 2. That's insane. I suppose people like guitar battles. And you bet, because 4 people said this was their favorite song. 1 for Plectrum, 2 for Prectum, and 1 for Plecturn. Plecturn. Let's all give a round of applause to Plectrum! Even if you didn't win, 2nd out of 42 is still an extremely honorable score. Congratulations, Plectrum! And before we talk about the winner, you all can enjoy the power-up section. Yes, the winner by a landslide is Oriole, with an average of 9.21. That's huge. A 5-minute gauntlet filled with long turns, dangerous flashy notes, and surprisingly no hurt notes actually. And talking bongos with mouths! Otter, Debris, Chuck, and Nut. Since this is the ultimate fan favorite, let's see what you guys had to say about it. 3 people first off said it was their favorite song. You guys must be ecstatic right now. Oh wow, Oriole got the highest amount of perfect scores out of any song at 14. More than half, almost 60%. Another third landed in an 8 or 9. It only has 1 7 and 1 5. That's it. If those were higher, I guarantee you Oriole would average a 9.5, which is ridiculous. It's as clear as day. After a long journey of looking at constant graphs and constant ties, we can conclude using science that Oriole is the best PR song of them all. I think my game is broken. So there you have it. Every PR song ranked from worst to best. Thanks to everyone who responded to the forum. This video wouldn't be possible without you. If Oriole isn't your favorite song, then hey, that's okay. I saw a multitude of different answers on what your guys' favorite song was, and they're all valid. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but on that thought, let's discuss in the comments. What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? How would you break up all those pesky ties? How would you rank all the songs? Let me know down below and I'll be sure to read them. And if you'd like to see more content like this from me, let me know as well. I could do this again with TBKS or that Veranos guy. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.